Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Well, in the mid-1950s, several sites in Monroe County were contaminated by a toxic substance that leaked from electrical equipment used by the Westinghouse Corporation. As part of our City Limits series, Bob Zaltsberg answers questions from a local resident about the history of these environmental problems and the status of the cleanup today.
Boy, it looks good.
That's John Langley, the City of Bloomington's point person on the environmental cleanup from 1985 until he retired last summer. Langley was looking over Neal's landfill last week. It's one of 3 sites the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency still has on the Superfund National Priorities list. Langley was the logical source to start with when Jim Seaver asked City Limits about the toxic sites.
I've heard people kind of say, oh, well, out in the county there are some sites where things were dumped and, you know, things have been cleaned up a little bit, but I never really knew the backstory, and I never really knew what their status is today and whether they pose any threat to the people living in Bloomington and surrounding areas here in the 21st century.
The problem started when the Bloomington Westinghouse plant was using oil laced with toxic PCBs, the short name for polychlorinated biphenyls, in electrical devices called capacitors. The company disposed of the capacitors in area landfills, and the oil contaminated soils, streams, and groundwater. Discovery of the contamination in the mid-1970s ignited a long debate about what to do to ensure the public's safety from PCBs, which have been linked to some cancers and other health issues. Westinghouse was found responsible and was required to pay for the cleanup. 6 sites in the area were listed in a federal cleanup agreement. 4 of the sites were listed on the Superfund National Priorities list. 1 site in Owen County was removed from the list in 1999, leaving 3 Superfund sites in Monroe County. The Lemon Lane landfill covers nearly 10 acres on Bloomington's west side. The EPA says from 1958 until 1964, capacitors linked to Westinghouse were dumped there. Scavengers came along and cracked them open to reclaim metal inside, and PCBs leaked into the ground. Langley says when he first went to the site, he saw a wall of capacitors 12 to 15 feet high. Tons of contaminated hot spots have been removed from Lemon Lane, and the landfill has been capped by a synthetic liner topped by several feet of clean soil. Neal's landfill is about 3 miles west of Bloomington.
You're standing on between probably 3 and 6 feet of compacted clay soil with topsoil on top of that. And so I think the total actually of the clay and the topsoil is 3 to 6 feet deep.
That's on top of federally approved synthetic cap. CBS now owns what was Bloomington Westinghouse and continues to be responsible for monitoring, inspecting, and gathering samples at the Lemon Lane and Neal's landfill. CBS also is responsible for Bennett's dump. We couldn't really see that fenced and secluded site. The EPA says immediate actions to protect human health and the environment have been taken as long-term cleanup work and monitoring continues. Langley is confident in the cleanups, but is cautious about declaring an all clear.
They're still working at the Bennett site, and that story will be told by the data in the future. Lemon Lane, I believe, is effectively severed from leaking to the environment.
He says PCB contamination has been non-detectable for a long time in the streams near the sites, and he's waiting to hear about the fish tissue sample results due next month. Seaver, who asked us to look into this, says he feels safe but wants people to realize past mistakes can have long-lasting effects.
One of the downsides, I guess, of Bloomington's history is that we are still atoning for some of the mistakes that were made by previous generations, presumably with the best of intentions, but it was a different time and the standards of what was considered safe were very different. And that just because somebody put something in the ground back then doesn't mean that it's not still a threat to us now.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Bob Zaltsberg.
EPA official Tom Alkemel told us that these aren't walkaway sites. While he thinks the sites could be taken off the Superfund list as soon as 2021, the water treatment plants will be in operation for, he says, many, many, many years to come.